to my YouTube channel. My name is Lydia. If you're new to my channel, I make faith-based content here on YouTube and I release new videos every Tuesday, so I definitely encourage you to subscribe so you don't miss out on any new content coming out. And if you're coming back, welcome back. As always, thank you so much for your support and I hope that you're having a great start to your day or to your week, depending on when you are watching this. So we're in the middle of March, which for us as Christians is Easter month, sometimes it's April, of course. And so we're looking at all things the cross. Last week we spoke about why the cross, why it is important for us to know, because we need to remember and never forget. Also, we need to be able to explain compassionately and boldly with confidence to others who maybe don't know about Jesus, why we are Christians, what we believe and why we believe it, so that we can boldly and compassionately share the gospel with others. And also so that we know what it is that Jesus actually did for us, so that we maximize it and take full advantage of all the benefits that he purchased for us on the cross. And for today, I'm talking about after the cross, or rather just the journey of death, burial, and resurrection, and how it actually parallels, or what principles we can learn from our lives, because it parallels a lot to the journey of life and seasons. So let's dig in, and we're going to start in John 12, where Jesus said that, "I tell you the truth, unless a kernel of wheat is planted in the soil and dies, it remains alone, but its death will produce many kernels, a plentiful harvest of new lives. Those who love their life in this world will lose it. Those who care nothing for their life in this world will keep it for eternity. Anyone who wants to serve me must follow me, because my servants must be where I am, and the Father will honor anyone who serves me." The first process is death. We see that Jesus, like the kernel, needed to die because we could not pay our own debt. So Jesus, the perfect seed, had to die and be planted, just like the kernel, to give opportunity for us, the many other God's children, to be restored back to the Father. And we see this principle, this parallel in our own lives, that sometimes God has to allow certain things in our lives, certain relationships, certain dreams, certain bad habits or unbeneficial habits to die, so that they can be restored, so that stronger, more fruitful things can be birthed. Because sometimes it's not always necessary that a relationship is bad or a dream is bad, but it's lost its original intent that God has for it. Just like us in our human nature, we lost the original intent, our original form. So Jesus had to die so that he can restore us, make a way for us to be restored to our natural, original, intended state that God originally made us to be, so that again we can be restored to the Father. So death is just part of life, it's part of life's circle. And next that we have burial. We see in John 12:24, it says that, "I tell you the truth, unless a kernel of wheat is planted in the soil and dies, it remains alone, but its death will produce many new kernels, a plentiful harvest of new lives." The kernel was planted, not buried. Like Jesus was planted, not buried. During what we call Silent Saturday, Jesus went to literal hell itself, where he fought and conquered the enemy on our behalf, so that he could restore back to us, enable us to gain back the authority that Adam and Eve lost for humanity. So Jesus went to hell. So we see that even during that day where we call Silent Saturday, we couldn't see in the natural what was happening in the spirit, but Jesus was doing a lot. So my encouragement to you is that when we look in the parallel of our lives, in the season where we feel like we're being buried, silence, when it feels like God is silent and we're not seeing anything, it feels like we're not moving, silence does not necessarily equate to inactivity. Maybe in the natural, we may not necessarily see what God is doing, but in the spirit, a lot of activity is happening. And there's far more powerful activity in the spirit realm than there is in the natural. The natural, we tend to just see the result, but we don't know the battles that are being going on. So Jesus was busy fighting a battle on behalf of humanity, even though on earth, they were mourning him, thinking that it's all over. So my encouragement to you is that sometimes, God allows things to die that have had a hold in us, not necessarily because they're bad. They've gotten a grip to us. So he allows them to die and be planted, not buried, so that he can restore that dream. He can restore the relationship. back to us without it having a hold on us, without it having an unhealthy grip on us, so that we place that dream, we place that relationship in the place that it needed to be. So remember, silence does not mean inactivity, which now takes us to the next process, which is resurrection. In God, nothing, absolutely nothing is ever fully lost. Whatever God seemingly takes away from us is ultimately restored to us in greater and better measure. We read in Mark, it says that, "Truly I tell you," Jesus replied, "no one who has left home or brothers or sisters or mother or father or children or fields for me and the gospel will fail to receive 100 times as much in this present age. Homes, brothers, sisters, mothers, children, and fields, along with persecutions, and in the age to come, eternal life." Jesus did not go to hell, did not die the kind of cruel death that he died for nothing. He went through the specific process to gain specific victories for us. We don't go through things just because. God does not allow us to go through seasons of feeling like things are dying or things are being buried in our lives for nothing. There's specific victories. My encouragement to you is seek the Lord and find out, Lord, you've allowed this to happen. What battle? What is the fruit? What is the victory that I'm meant to gain out of this battle, out of this process, out of this pruning process, out of this cutting, this painful season of dying, where you feel like something literally dies? What victories? Because for us, when we read Isaiah 53, it says that surely he has borne our griefs, sicknesses, weaknesses, and distresses, and carried our sorrows and pains of punishment. Yet we ignorantly considered him stricken, smitten, and afflicted by God, as if leprosy. But he was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our guilt and iniquities. The chastisement needful to obtain peace and well-being for us was upon him, and with the stripes that wounded him, we are healed and made whole. Through Jesus' resurrection, he purchased the right for us to be healed and whole. So we don't have to tolerate sickness in our lives. We don't have to tolerate lack in our lives. We don't have to tolerate circumstances burying us in our lives. We don't have to tolerate anything that Jesus purchased. Jesus suffered way too much for us to just tolerate anything that is beneath us walking in complete mental peace, emotional peace, physical wellness, and abundance in our life, because he purchased every single lash that he took was for us. Satan may still have power on this planet, but he no longer has legal authority to oppress you unless you, through ignorance, allow him. Take full advantage of what Jesus did for us. And next week, I'll definitely be delving deeper into our new creation realities and benefits that were brought through the cross. But that's it for today. I leave you with these takeaways. Death, life, and resurrection are the natural pattern of our life's journey. And second, silence does not always equate inactivity. It may feel like God is being silent. It may feel like nothing's happening. But stay encouraged. A lot of activity is happening in the spiritual realm. And third, whatever you find yourself, maybe you're feeling buried. You're not buried. You're only planted for a greater harvest that you may not necessarily see now, but God sees. Love you guys. As always, I pray for you. And my heart prayer is that today is beneficial for you, and whatever season you find yourself, stay encouraged, hold on to the cross, and remember that God is for you always, and you can walk in your divine God authority. May God bless you. Please do continue to subscribe and share with other people in your world. Have an amazing week.